Hi everyone, it's Sharon Gula here from digitalnomadwannabe.com. I'm coming live from Melbourne, Australia, where I am for 2 more weeks, and then we head off to Africa actually, so expect some more exotic locations in these live videos. Although I must admit the first week I'm planning not to do this. I'm really going to try really hard to disconnect for a couple of days and take a bit of a break when we're at the Club Med in Mauritius, which I'm super excited about. But we'll see how we go. I don't know about you guys, but I find it really, really hard to disconnect. And I know I have to keep online a little bit because I do have to make sure things run. And then, yeah, anyway, I'm sure some of you understand what I mean. But anyway, we're here to talk about how to make more money with advertising. So in the live today and in the Facebook group in the following week, we're going to talk about advertising. We're going to have an advertising focus week, I'm calling it. We're going to concentrate on how you start making money with advertising if you're not already, or how you can make more money from advertising, or maybe you're just thinking, is advertising for me? You know, there's definitely pros and cons of advertising, and I think a lot of bloggers in particular worry a bit too much about what effect it might have on their readers. So we're going to address all of that and have a bit of a chat. And yeah, I mean, if you've got questions, just comment them or ask later or whatever you want to do. And I'll answer them if I can. So first of all, sounds like I should turn my computer sound off. Sorry about that. So advertising, I think it's a great money-making strategy because pretty much anyone with a site can do it. Okay, so if you've got a niche site, blog, whatever, you can make money from advertising. So there's a really low entry barrier. You don't have to. Some networks will make you have a certain amount of traffic. That's not the case with everyone. So pros of advertising. I like that it can be really quick and easy to get started, right? And if you've got a site, you can do it. So if you Google AdSense in particular, and I'll talk more in a minute about like ad networks versus just going Google AdSense, you can do it like straight away. So it's no issue at all. You can just sort of sign up, you can put ad code, you can start making money. And you can have really reliable payment with them as well. So like what's great with Google AdSense is you'll get paid. They probably have a minimum payment, I'm not sure, but you get paid the next month. So around the 21st of the month, I get paid for the previous month. And they're always on time, they're always really good, and I've had no issues. So it's been one of the easiest ways I find to make money. Like I talk about affiliate being passive, but there's always people who don't pay, which is really annoying, and chasing that up is a bit of a headache. So I found that really good with Google AdSense anyway. Now, cons. It can look ugly, okay? I think we've all gone to sites where they've done advertising really poorly, okay? And there's ads everywhere, or I have a screenshot that it kind of makes me laugh. You know, it's a family travel blog. I went on there. There's adult ads all over it. It's really off. It looks terrible. I'd hate to think of my kids on a photo, like on a screen where there's that sort of stuff. And that was not on my browser history. I do not look at that. That's what people like to point out when I show that. But no, that was, I don't know what they did, but they shouldn't have done it. So you do need to be a bit mindful for sure. Now, it takes people away from your site. Now, to me, that's the biggest issue with advertising, is it takes people away, and that's kind of the idea of advertising. So you've got to remember you're encouraging that if you're doing advertising. So if you're doing affiliate marketing, you want to make sure you take that in consideration. You know, like I tend to remove it from my best affiliate posts because I don't want people going there instead of going to Amazon or a hotel booking site or whatever, especially because they can, you know, they often show ads for what you're actually talking about in the text. You know, I don't want to get like 50 cents or whatever because they click on the Amazon ad when they could buy something and I could make $20, you know, so you do need to think about that. Now, you do have to be a little bit careful about especially if you go with an advertising network, what they might do to your site. You know, sometimes they do things that you don't realise you've allowed them to do. So we'll talk about that in a minute. It's also not worthwhile without a reasonable amount of traffic. Now, I just kind of think there's no point having the ads there if you're making like 20 cents a day. Now, what's a reasonable amount of traffic? This is highly variable, okay? My travel blog, you know, it's currently getting over 400,000 page views, right? I've got a site with 20,000. The site with 20,000 page views makes more money than my travel blog with advertising. Now, this is because different audiences are sort of worth different amounts of money to advertisers. So you can do stuff to encourage more money on your site and to make more money from it, depending what your content is about and what you write about. But, you know, if you already have an existing blog, I mean, it's kind of already decided what you've written about. So, you know, I would say for travel blogging, unless you're writing a lot about products or something, you're probably going to need quite high numbers to make reasonable money. If you're writing about other niches, it's going to vary. You know, like my one with 20,000 page views that makes pretty good money from ads. It's talking about working from home, and I actually wrote the articles to target keywords that pay a lot of money from ads, okay? And you can get an idea from that, like if you use key search, it'll tell you the cost per click, or in Keyword Planner, you can still see that in AdSense, but I'll talk more about that. So yeah, whereas like travel keywords, they're pretty low, they're not really worth much money, so that's why it's harder to make money in travel blogging with advertising. Now, let's just talk about readers for a minute, because I think that can be the biggest concern of bloggers, that they're going to turn off their readers. Now, firstly, I kind of think as long as you don't have ads like everywhere, or like that adult entertainment ads I talked about before, if you're going to turn off a reader just by having an ad in your sidebar or the ad in text or whatever, are they a reader you actually want, would be my first question. Because I kind of think, like, you know, if I'm looking at a site and I'm reading and there's an ad, I don't think, oh, you know, I'm not going to read them anymore. You know, I just think if you were going to do that, you didn't really want to read it in the first place, you're not that engaged, you're probably not really a reader that you want on your site, right? They're probably not going to spend money. They're probably not going to do anything that helps with other forms of monetization. So firstly, if someone is turned off that easily, do you even want them? But secondly, my experience has been that it doesn't actually make any difference to my readers. It's when I look at the metrics. So you can always try ads and go to Google Analytics and look at things like what happens to your bounce rate, what happens to your time on the site, what happens to your page views per session. I found that they don't vary when I've added ads or when I haven't got ads. So the way I see it is that I'm not really affecting readers. They're not leaving my site. If it annoys them, it annoys them. But I actually think most of us are actually blind to ads, which is a problem in itself, right? Because then people aren't clicking on them and making money. But I don't really think you're going to annoy that many people as long as you don't go overboard and don't put adult entertainment ads on there. Now, when you sell ads, there's like different ways you can go about it. So you can sell privately, and if you're really worried about what ads are going to pop up or how it's going to look, then you should go the private option, where you like sell ads directly to companies, and you know, you don't just have whatever ad pop up on the screen. You know what it is. It's fixed there. Like you have an image you put on your site and it links to them or whatever. So you can take that route. I personally don't really like going that route because it just seems like more hassle to me. I just want it to be as passive as possible. So then you can use an ad network. So I talked about like Google AdSense before. You know, I do really like them because they're really simple. They have really good reporting and they just pay, and it's just easy. But there's all these other advertising networks, and what's good about them, I find it not as easy. They tend to have all these rules, and they can take a lot longer to pay. It can take months to get paid, so be wary of that. Sometimes they can be slack on payment, and that's annoying too. But they generally pay a lot more money. So, you know, at the moment, actually, I'm in the process of switching to Mediavine because I just keep hearing bloggers say how much money they're making, and you know, I can't help but want to get on the bandwagon. Previously, I had a really bad experience with an advertising network. So that was, I think they were called the Blogger Network then, but now it's Monumetric. Hopefully they've changed their practices because it was super dodgy. Like I did all the code myself, and I really suggest if you go through an advertising network, it can be tempting to let them just do it all. But then they can do whatever they want, and they can do really bad things. But I made sure I kept the control myself. I did it all myself. I put the code on myself where I wanted it, etc. And that was all that was meant to happen, I believed. Then I arrived back into Australia after being, you know, living in Asia and all that for 13 months. And I opened my website, right? This big freaking video ad fills the whole screen. I thought I had a virus, you know, I'm like stressing. I've just like flown back, you know, long haul. I'm pregnant, I'm exhausted, I've got little kids. And I'm like, I've got a virus, you know, and I spent half the night trying to figure it out. And my husband got on and it, you know, we found out it was coming from the ad network. So I removed that ad straight away. I had to get into long discussions with them because they had a, you know, 30-day, you had to give them 30 days notice to leave or they weren't going to pay you. But they understood why I was so angry. So it made me think a lot of people had been complaining. And the problem with that was, right, that it only showed in certain countries. So I didn't see it till I came back to Australia because it wasn't showing in Asia. So they could be doing all this stuff to your site and you don't even know. And that's really actually why I started with AdSense after that, because I just didn't want it to happen again. So you do need to be a bit wary. Be really careful about what you're giving them permission to do and what they're actually doing. You might want to even like get friends in other countries or use a VPN to just make sure they're not doing things like that. So yeah, I mean, they're all pros and cons. I'd rather use an ad network. It's worth experimenting with ones that will pay more money, but just be really careful about what access you're giving them. And AdSense is a really good standby, and it can be a really good place to start just because you don't have to worry about a lot of the issues. So moving on, I'm talking too much. Okay, so if you want to, how much can you make from ads? What I talked about before, it varies depending on what you're actually writing about on your page and what your readers are like, right? So what can happen, sorry, I saw a comment. I've totally lost my train of thought. So how you can work out how much you can earn, it's really hard to actually work it out in advance. You've really just got to try. What it will vary on is like sort of the quality of your readers. So where are they coming from? Like I'm looking at moving to Mediavine. 15% of my readers come from Asia, and they've already told me that I won't make any money from them on there. So that can have an impact. If you've got an audience like that's European, Australian, New Zealand, US, Canada, whatever, you're going to be better off. It's going to make you more money generally. But what you write about is really important. So your niche, what type of readers you have. And, that's why I found like my working from home site, I purposely picked keywords that had a really high cost per click. So you can go see that. You can see it in key search. There's a CPC column when you look at the keywords. If you want to make more money from advertising, you want to write articles that relate to those keywords, okay? Now, the articles don't need to rank, but that will help you get more traffic. But if you're just writing about those types of things, then you'll be more likely to get higher priced ads put on your site. And then you can make more money that way. So that's a way to think about it. I actually built that entire work from home site actually around keyword research and finding good keywords for advertising. So that's why that site does a lot better than whereas my travel blog, it's just, it's written for different reasons. So it's harder to make money. Now, how do you go about advertising? There's basically 3 steps. So you basically have to find an ad network, like join one up, work out who you're going to work with. Then you need to put ads up, and then you need to monitor and optimize. Now that last step's actually the most important and the ones that bloggers skip over. So that's the one if you're already using ads you should really be focused on. So when you're looking for an ad network, it's definitely worth shopping around with different networks. It's a good idea to try them out as well. Often they will make you stay a certain number of days or give a certain days of notice, so just make sure you're aware of that. Like I keep saying, I think AdSense is a great place to start, see if there's any value in you having ads, especially because you can play with it and you can remove it the next day. You're not locked in. So you can just see what you like or if it works, how it affects your readers maybe before you bother with the process of signing up with another network. So that can be a way to go. Like I said, be careful about terms and what they're doing, giving notice. I'm about to try out Mediavine, which I know someone just wrote a comment about, so I might just see that. Tony, I've been a big proponent of Mediavine, but this week I noticed they have added their own footer to my site, which I have no control of. I asked about it and it is I can't see it all. Okay, so it looks like they're doing dodgy things too. Now I don't want to go with them. I'd kind of rather get less money than just have stress. Let's see what she said. Being progressively added to everyone's. I really hate it, and the downside of them totally controlling the placement. Okay, yeah, that does worry me. I have seen a lot of those footers on there, and I think on a laptop it just takes too much of the screen. So yeah, those types of things can happen, unfortunately. Sebastian said something. Hi, and Stefan. Big congratulations to you too. And yeah, they said that AdSense is just not generating enough income, so they're trying to work with brands directly to fill banner positions, which pays a lot more. Yep, like you probably are going to get more money there. I'm just lazy. So it's definitely something worth considering as well. So like AdSense, I'm not going to lie, it doesn't pay well. I haven't done my monthly report. At the start of every month I look at the previous months, but where's Sharon? I think, I don't know. I don't even want to say how much it earns. It's crazy low, really, for how much traffic. So you can definitely earn more money by going any other approach probably. But I do think it's a nice place just to start and see how you feel about ads. Okay. So what are we talking about? So next step, once you've got an ad network, you need to put the ads up. Now, some of the networks will just do it for you. They will just put it everywhere. They might even insist on that. Like I said, I'd be a little bit worried about that, but it does make it easier if you just don't want to touch anything technical at all. So if you need to do it yourself, it's really not that hard. Generally, they'll just give you code. If you're using like AdSense, you just say what size ad you want, whether it's responsive, things like that. There's just some options, and they'll basically give you some code, and you just copy and paste it where you want it. Now, some things are really nice, and they'll have this built in, like what I use for a couple of my sites Thrive Themes, they have like really good ad stuff. So I just sort of go into a page in the admin dashboard and I just select where I want the ad and put the code there, and it'll put it in every post like after 3 paragraphs or things like that. So that's really nice. Another plugin I use on Where Sharon is WP Insert, and that gives you a fair bit of control about where you want ad blocks to. You know, you can put on all posts or pages, you can just have them on certain ones or exclude them on certain ones and where you want them. Because I definitely recommend putting them in text. I find that's the best place for them. You know, you can also just add the ad code to a text widget and put it in your sidebar. Some themes will let you put it in their header or the footer too in the settings. So you can try all different placements. So what you should definitely be doing is trying a few different ones at least. You know, like I'd recommend trying your sidebar, trying in text, maybe trying at the bottom. If you're really daring, you could put it at the top. You just try some different ones to start with and see what happens. Definitely try different sizes. So don't just go and, like if you're in AdSense where you can choose, don't just go put them all the same size. Try some different sizes and see what works. You know, maybe a different one size on the sidebar to the middle, because it will give you, depending on what size you pick, will give you access to different ads, and some pay more than others or it will be more suitable to your audience than others. Make sure you consider turning certain types of ads off if you have the power, like definitely adult entertainment, gambling, anything dodgy, you want to switch it off. And yeah, so just get started initially, but just try and do a variety of things when you get started. And then you have the more important step, which is monitor and optimize. So you want to monitor how they're going. So you're going to want to monitor that in the ad network if they give you access. They don't always. I know when I was with, one of the things that really shocked me when I was with Monumetric was they didn't have good reporting at all. I didn't know, I just could see how much money, not where it was coming from. So it was really hard to optimize. But because I'd been using AdSense before that, I already knew what kind of worked. Because I found even just changing ads to be like slightly bigger or slightly less would give me more money. Slight different positions in the page. Generally, the higher up in the post you put it, the more money you're going to get. I find that best converting. But different websites, different audiences are different. I actually find the sidebar pretty pointless on Where Sharon, but in my working from home site, the sidebar does the best. So, I mean, you just got to try things out and see what happens. You can also try different types of ads. Like AdSense has a link list where it's like, it's kind of like what you might see if you Googled the search keywords and the ads that would come up at the top, and they put them in a little list. So I have that in my sidebar, and that used to convert really well, actually, better than any other ad, but now it's actually stopped doing that well. So over time, it just changes as well, so it's something to consider. But yeah, I mean, all you can really do is just keep trying them out and see what happens. And the other place you're going to want to monitor is Google Analytics, okay? So just see what impact it has on your readers. Is it changing anything to do with bounce rate, page views per session, time on site? And that's how you'll get an idea if anyone really cares or they don't care. And, you know, if it just goes down a little bit, you might be happy with that to make money. We've all got to live. You know, it's up to you what you can live with and what you can't live with. I would also, if you're earning money from affiliate income or products or something else, just check how that's going as well, that it doesn't have an impact, that you're not driving people away and it's stopping them. You know, so you're making more money on ads, but, you know, you're making less in affiliate income or from your product or whatever. So just keep an eye on that as well. So yes, this is my little talk about advertising. I'm going to be doing a lot more of it in the group this week. So we'll sort of step through those steps some more and see if we can get started with advertising or start making more money. What do I get roughly per click with a work from home website? That's a really good question. After I get off this, I'll look it up. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I would be doubtful that I'd get anywhere near as many clicks as what I would from the travel blog. So I'd say a fair bit more. Like I said, I built those posts specifically because they were high cost per click, so that should help. And also, what's good on that site is it's an Australian site, so my traffic is like 97% Australian or something. So that helps as well. Any other questions before I get off? Because I'm about to go, and I will look up that EPC. Okay, I'm off. So see you guys in the group, hopefully.